Hey guys, before we start today, I wanted to let you guys know that Brett Sheridan and I will be at Flappers Comedy Club February 13th at Burbank, 8 p.m. on The Jake Lewis Show. You can get tickets at Flappers and look for The Jake Lewis Show. It's going to be a lot of fun. Me and the douche will be there. All right, peace. Welcome back to Capes and Cowles, everybody. It is Big Thing. I'm excited to have you back here. What a fun show it's going to be today. We got a lot of topics that we could potentially get to. That's usually how we could potentially get to them. I know the ones we will get to for sure. The latest trailer for Shazam, Fury of the Gods, hit, so we'll talk about that for sure. James Gunn responds to some of these casting criticisms and how's it all going to pan out for sure. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is looking to have a big opening weekend. Doom Patrol got canceled, and a few other things from here and there. Coy's close friend Chloe Bennett was also tweeting out there saying some stuff. Maybe she returns. We'll find that out. Well, we'll see. Lots of things to talk about, man. Something very exciting that I'm pumped about. Now, you guys know, obviously, through Apple Podcasts and Spotify, you can find this show, but we are happy to announce we're one of the few shows, rare shows, that are going to have video on Spotify. We're going to start uploading our video, and this will be the first show to have video on Spotify. So you can follow us on Spotify and watch this show on Spotify. So one more reason to make sure you follow us on Spotify. Sorry, Apple. You got to get video. Real nice. Good way to get people to subscribe to Apple. All right, patreon.com/The Big Thing Show. I got a lot of stuff going on there. Here's something that's pretty fun that I'm excited about, and I did this for a reason. We have these one-on-one sessions that I obviously do with fans, but on Patreon. But one of the things I did, I said, I'm going to do a one-on-one podcast, give an option to, like, the same way I would interview anybody, Diego Luna, Andrea Riseborough, whoever. I was like, well, I want to give one of the patrons an opportunity to do that. And so we had somebody sign up, and you can see that interview. I'm not going to tell you anything about the guy yet. I want you to go and discover it. You can see it. I put it public on Kristian Harloff and Friends channel. So if you want to watch that full episode, you can go and check that out. And if you feel like you want to do that and you want to have a chat, then there you go. Come and join. Black Knight, that shirt, it's up there. You don't know Ish, that's up there as well. Sith Council, Show Some Class, Big Thing, Capes and Cows, all of it. It's all up there. Get it. Do it. Let the English see you do it. All right, everybody. It's Capes and Cows, and I'm so pumped to start the show because of this. Welcome back, everybody. Capes and Cowles, and that new opening, it is from the great Wicked Art, who did the opening for Sith Council and did the opening for Capes and Cowles. He's a very talented dude, a patron, by the way. I got a chance to get to know him a little bit more, and he sent that to me, and I sent it to Winston and Coy, and they were like, man, it is something special. So speaking of Winston and Coy,
we got an intro. That was so cool, man.
So good. And then
it's phenomenal. My only question is why Kristian Harloff got cornrows.
He's an Osborne.
You shut the door. You gotta shut the door.
That wasn't
there's
me
the
this
dude.
time. That
There
wasn't
he
me.
is.
You gotta shut the door.
I like that you go to the subscription page whenever you're in a panic. You're like,
know,
what do I
know.
do? Mayday. This is the button.
It's like he's
right
not,
now we
he's
got
not
the
gonna
dude.
go.
There's no way. He's so happy. His whole body's
He's actually
quivering.
getting really calm though.
Yes,
It's not
comparatively.
You're saying this is not going to stay.
No. It's just because he's. Come here.
We got a dude sighting. There he is under the table. There, I'm scooping him up. Look at that man. Look at that face. Oh man.
Just gotta get.
This
It's like this. This is the problem when I get. Look at this fat pig. When I get mad. Look. When I get mad at him, he does this. Hey, stop it! Oh, all right, fine.
Yeah, there it is. There it
Bro,
is.
what's amazing about it is like he's adorable. He looks constantly sad.
But yeah, well, you,
Just
you,
face
you,
shape.
That's
Just
just
a
his
face
face.
shape. That's
No,
just
I
his
know.
he
face.
doesn't look sad because when he's sitting there, he thinks so, but he's got his dong out half the time. Look at him. He's not sad. He knows, and he's hung like a moose. This dog.
Oh,
It's just
Jesus.
bizarre.
Oh, here it comes.
I don't even get it.
God.
Learning so
Yeah, look,
much
see, look,
about
he's getting
this.
ready.
It's just-
There he is. All right. Well, it's an X-rated episode of Capes and Cowles. Full frontal
man.
moose
Just play
nudity.
play the intro again.
Just
I know,
for
I
safety.
know.
For
It's like-
safety.
anyway, welcome back. So
You
I'm gonna
think
give.
we're like a pedigreed show because we have an intro and then that happens immediately after. Like, yo, we did it. We got an animated intro. Oh, we got this dog dick. We got to cover
Yeah,
it.
that's right. That's the name of the show today, Dog Dick. It's good to have everybody back. Good to have you guys back. So let me ask everybody out there a question. So today we were going to do, we said, okay, listen, here's what's going to happen. Because normally we've been shooting this show like 10 a.m. because it's been convenient for everybody to do it and get it out there, and Winston usually has to be at work at a certain time, so afterwards, so he's like, hey, we shoot a little earlier. But today, Coy last night said, hey, the Shazam trailer is going to be hitting. I said, oh, that's a good point. He's like, so I'm not sure. I might be doing some reactions for Real Rejects and might be out there, not be able to do it, get there in time. And I said, don't worry, I'm probably going to be doing the same thing. So we said, okay, let's do 10:30. And then I realized as we're putting things together, I was like, it came because it dropped fairly later than we thought. So I was like, give Coy a little time. I said, is it cool? Does 11 a.m. work for everybody? And Winston's like, absolutely, but I got it hard out at 12:15. So Coy's like, don't worry, I'll be there at 10:45. So to no one's surprise.
And was.
Well, no. I was going to say no surprise. Coy was late, but he was only late by 10 minutes. He got here at 10:55, and I said, we're going to make it. Winston said I had a hard out at 12:15.
Got here at 11:05.
11:05, my balls.
No. I was talking to your wife because she was like, "Hi, Winston, how are you?" And she's a very sweet lady, and I had to talk to her. I'm not going to be like, say it again, I'm on face, I'm late.
And I was up front at 10:44, didn't see Winston, and got some TikToks out because that's the other part of the job, and then sauntered in at 10:55.
So Winston gets here. Okay, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Say he was talking my way. Gets in here, comes in. And then what does he do? Makes himself a coffee. Fine. You need a coffee?
Saunters.
Fine. Okay, that's going to give us about 5. Exactly. Decided to have a nice little conversation with another man's wife. Okay, fine. And then sits down, has a coffee. And then we say, okay, here's some of the stories. And we bring up, the main topic's probably going to be Shazam Fury of the Gods. He goes, oh, we're going to talk about that trailer? I said, what do you think we're going to talk about? The Giants game?
Takes out his phone
Cowboys?
and proceeds to casually watch the Shazam trailer.
Right.
On a whim, like maybe it's relevant.
He's got his earbuds on, like he's in his pajamas in the living room.
And at this point it's like 11:20.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty, this just happened. I'm just acknowledging.
You ain't got no hard out, I'll tell you that.
No, that's fine. Look, I'll take
Hard out the door.
Are we going to cover the second trailer for the next DC
movie? I'll take my lashings, but I don't want to put that on Coy. He's had enough. He's had enough.
I'm making it clear. We're just talking to you. Just talking.
Look.
Flies back from Virginia once.
Look. No, I do apologize. As I was leaving this morning, my girlfriend forgot to tell me that she needed us to move the cars and went into a meeting, so I had to move.
Blames
the car.
on his girlfriend now.
No.
Your wife, his girlfriend. No. I'm hearing a lot.
No. But
I'd like to take responsibility, and with that responsibility, everyone else.
No. Let me finish. God damn it. I was already running behind because when you said we're running later, I said, great, I need more sleep. I haven't been sleeping very well, so I went to sleep longer. And then when I woke up, I was like, shit. So I'm racing out the door, and then I get to the car and I go, damn, her car is here. So I had to run back upstairs, get the keys, move that. I just have not been all with it recently, and I take my L as I deserve it.
Fair enough.
And L is for loss, not for lashing.
No. Well, look, Coy was just excited because Coy's like, oh, I can finally make fun of somebody for being late.
Today's my day.
Yeah,
Today's
exactly.
my one.
I always have an out. I always have.
We've only done like 20 of these shows. This is the first time I've been early, so I'm take it.
I'm proud of you. I genuinely am. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you for one time letting the whole tables flip.
Well, and I love early. I love early is like 4 minutes before we're supposed to start shooting.
Hey, man's got a job. I was here early. Show. I mean, you have a little bit of community. Yeah. 24 hours early and 48 hours early and 72 hours early.
We're gonna get into these topics in a second.
One of these days.
And one of these days, but it's been that kind of week. But I will say this. This is I always tell stories of my little 5-year-old because she every day becomes
a little mobster, bro.
She's yesterday on the way. School. We're getting ready. She's all ready. She's got her like her pigtails in. She's got everything to. And she goes, Dad, I'm going to be the princess right now. And I said, okay, that's cool. You want to be the princess, right? And then I'm putting her shoes on for her, helping her with her shoes. And she goes, I stand up and she goes, Dada, I'm the princess. And I go, okay. She's like, kneel. And I go like this. I go like a bow. She goes, kneel.
Bro, you don't ever have to worry about a man pulling one over on her.
At 5, kneel.
Gangster, dude.
Bro.
Gangster. I was like...
I think you got to move that horse to her room. She's taking over the Sopranos, man.
I'm telling you, she is hilarious. I mean, really hilarious. But all right. Anyway, good start to the show.
Great start, man.
Did you watch that Shazam trailer?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Let's do it. Let's start with that. We're gonna start. We'll start with Shazam, the latest trailer from DC, hit yesterday, and it stars Zach Levi, Lucy Liu, Helen Mirren, and the rest of the crew, obviously. But I'll tell you, this trailer, I was already excited for this movie because it was. I like the first movie a lot. I think. I still don't know what the hell's going to happen with DCU, but I'm not. I will say this, prefacing this before I go into it. I understand that if there are a lot of fans who are connected to, they were wanting the whole through line, but that's the reason they were going to the movies and they decide they're out now. I get that. I'm going into this going, I don't know what the hell's happening. I like the first movie. I want to see where this particular story went. I almost look at like the way Star Wars canon, we talked about this week, is an absolute disaster. But you can still follow kind of side stories, you know, and I think that this is one of those things, but I loved this trailer. And I'll tell you, there were some CGI scenes I didn't love, but one of the things I love the tone of the trailer. Like it seemed a lot more dramatic than I was expecting, but it also didn't take away from the humor that we kind of fell in love with from the first one. And I guess maybe I'm just on such a Helen Mirren kick with 1923 right now. I think it looked really good. But Winston, I don't know. You just watched it. What'd you think?
Just watched it. It was great.
Yeah. Did you like it?
No, it was pretty good. It's pretty good.
Okay.
I don't know. The funny thing is, I don't know why I acted like that. I watched most of your reaction. And I know you play the video in it side by side, but I just was more paying attention to you than I was actually watching the trailer.
That's props.
It's a little baby screen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But watching it fully
doing my job.
Yeah. But I know one of your biggest concerns has been, especially with films like this, if they have comedic elements, they get too jokey. And
it depends. It depends. If the character is supposed to be jokey and is established when you first meet them as jokey and it's consistent, I have no issue with that. It's when everybody starts to be like the Ant-Man 2 of it all, or some of the Guardians 2, and that's when I start to go, okay, well, what Thor, that's when I start to go, come on, cut it out.
Sure. Well, either way, what I appreciate about it, I was kind of like sitting here thinking in my mind, I was like, all right, you're not doing Black Adam, and you already did Dr. Sivana, so obviously you have the Sisters of Atlas, and I'm like, is this going to be like a big enough threat to like genuinely be a thing? Is it going to be something that we're going to be interested in? Because now you have an entire family of essentially supermen and women, more magical supermen and women. Like, what are you going to do? The fact that they're kind of leaning into this stripping them of their powers thing and like having to deal with that, I actually think is a very interesting plot point, because it's one of the reasons, and Coy, you might be able to back me on this, a lot of people debate whether or not it is possible to tell a really, really good Superman story, and it's typically not about how strong is Superman. It's like, will Superman do the right thing? It's kind of the same thing here, where it's like, Shazam is strong enough to like bust the universe if he needs to be, so you need to find a way to get at him in a different angle. And so to come at this idea where like, I will kill your entire family by stripping them of their powers if you don't just give this up, I think that's a great storyline to follow, and it got me excited to see how this is going to play out.
Yeah. Now, Coy, do you think? Obviously, I want to hear your thoughts on the trailer itself, but do you think that the idea that we still don't know what's happening with the DCU yet, that this is going to distract a lot of people?
I think that James Gunn waited until this trailer came out to reveal his slate, because we didn't know for sure there'd be a Shazam trailer. Obviously he would. So I think that him saying January was always late January, and I think people have been very like aggressively impatient about that. He could drop it on the 31st, but I think he was waiting for this trailer because he didn't want to overshadow this trailer.
Sure.
The movie comes out in March. You need to get this trailer out. I probably would have done the slate in January, the movie trailer in February, or not announced that the slate was coming because everyone was waiting on it instead of the trailer. But he might have had to. They might have been enough pressure to be like, what are you guys doing? You need to announce it. So he's in a rock and a hard place for the next 5 years. Like, there's no winning for him. Like, he's always going to be under pressure. I think my issue with the fandom in general, for Marvel, DC, for Star Wars, for anything that's a tapestry, is you shouldn't be watching X to get to Y, because that's when the movie has to rush. That's when you have to shove in too many Easter eggs. That's when your post-credit seems to become that meme where it's like someone jumps through a portal like, I'm Bazunga. The issue with fandom right now is it's like the issue we have in life. Life is about living in the moment, and we get anxious when we're looking forward. We get depressed when we're looking back. I think that we as people, because of the TikTokification of society, are too anticipatory. Right. So everyone's looking for the next thing, not the thing. You should be watching Shazam for the 2-hour movie Shazam is. You should be watching Flash for the 2-hour movie Flash is. So I don't think that will affect me, because I'm trying to perceive the world that way.
I don't think it'll affect the casual viewer either.
And that's what I hope, because I think that the vocal minority of people yelling, like we talk about with all fandoms, there's people that don't know what Ezra Miller's been into in parts of the world that like aren't going to be affected. The problem for us is, how do we talk about everything and talk about this without those same people that watch our show because they're invested getting mad at us for enjoying it? Cake and Eat It Too is enjoying all these things on the road to DCU.
What else are you going to do with a cake? It's a cake.
That's what you do with cake.
That's what you do with cake.
You got it. You did.
But either way, I think that it's one of those things that people watching this show obviously are very invested in the DCU announcement, or know that it's coming. Know this, like you said something up top where you're like, well, you know, everybody, maybe they shouldn't have said that because everybody's expecting that. This audience certainly is, the Twitter sphere, yes, but the casual audience that really is, that they're banking on to see the movie, probably doesn't even know that James Gunn is running DC.
There's probably 80% of people that don't know who James Gunn is.
Right. So it's,
you would literally have to do like what they do in movies all the time, from the director of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes, 100%.
You know what I mean? Yes,
and I think that that's exactly what is the case here. But the trailer itself looks fun, looks interesting, and I think because it's coming out in March, which was supposed to come out last year, is one of the movies. There's tons of movies, whether it's John Wick, Creed, most of the movies in March.
This year is the 2020 Part 3.
All of those movies were supposed to come out last year.
Yeah.
All of it. Creed was supposed to be out in November. At one point, John Wick was at the end of the year, and so was Shazam.
And Aquaman.
And Aquaman is another.
They've been done a while.
Flash.
I'm just talking about March in general, though.
Oh,
March in general, there's 3 movies that were supposed to come out last year.
Yeah.
But yes, Winston, you're 100% right. There's so many movies this year. The reason why we're having such a stacked year is not only because it's like, okay, we're finally getting people back in the theater. It's also a lot of the movies that were supposed to come out are last year were pushed into this year because they were like, and it was a right move for them, because they're going, if you're a studio and you're saying, okay, some people are doing pretty good in the theater. Not everybody's super comfortable going back yet. I feel like everybody's going to be a little bit more comfortable next year.
Yep.
Should we push? And that's what happened.
And then everyone went, oh, March is usually light, but now it's not, because everyone went. Because like 300 came out in March, and that changed what March was. Yeah. But that's usually been 1 or 2 movies. Like, think about March. It's usually like 100%. You've got these 2 bangers. And then now it's like every week in March is insane.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about it in a second. Ant-Man is a February movie.
And that I'm trying to think what set that trend.
Deadpool.
I don't
Valentine's
know.
Day 2017?
I think it might have been, even though it's not, if you're going straight superhero, sure. But if you're just talking about a banger in February, I think, did Get Out become first or after?
Deadpool was first.
Deadpool was before Get Out.
Deadpool is still, even with Get Out, which did very well, Deadpool made an insane amount of money
for an R-rated movie.
It was approaching $1 billion, and they also leaned into the February of it. The ads were rom-com. They made it, and that's what started Ryan Reynolds' whole marketing company, which is like 3 years running.
So when it comes to, but the point of all of that is that it's January was always Mark Ellis and I, when we did Schmoes, we always talked about how it was like the toilet bowl movie season, and it's still usually what it is now. What it has been is it's a push into the Oscar movies that you haven't seen will land there. And that's always been kind of there, but a horror movie will drop, whether it's Megan or something else. Yeah. A horror movie will drop. Something will drop inside of that January feel, and you don't know what you can have. The horror movies has always been like the way to go because they cost nothing and they can make you a little bit of cash.
The risk is low if nobody shows up.
Right. But now, because of everything that happened with the pandemic, in general, the way that it's changed, and because remember, before the pandemic, movies, we were even saying that the summer season was going to start starting because Endgame came out in April.
Yeah. Right. It was May with the first Avengers, but it's slowly.
No, they pushed it.
The very first Avengers.
Yes.
Then it started to slide back into April. Yeah. And then they did the split of February, and that first one for Marvel, like Disney Marvel, not Fox Marvel, was Black Panther.
That's right.
And then
That's
Black
right.
Panther, so that was the other part in my mind is I was like, they started making Black History Month where you drop a major black film. So you go get out the first year, Black Panther the next. But now, because we got Multiverse of Madness in March last year.
It was March, yeah.
It was March. So we didn't get anything in February last year. But now March, like you said, it's kind of shifted where you still have something big in February, but March, like you said.
Well, this is the first real movie season since 2019.
Mm-hmm. And I think this is permanent. In the same way that everything getting clustered has made people go like, I need now, which I think has been somewhat to Marvel's detriment. We've talked about how having something every week, it's harder to cover, it's harder to not get fatigued. But I do think that going forward, we're going to have an 11-month movie season. I think that once people get used to it, it will be February to December from now on. Because if you look at the schedule this year, there's like 2 weeks in August that are light, and that's it. This year is insane.
September's
like half and half.
October?
Yeah,
October
pretty
starts
good.
to move a little bit, too. But it's and October starts to push out a little bit more the Oscar type stuff and all that.
It's interesting that Oscar stuff is moving to October.
It always
normally. I always thought it was November, December.
It starts the smaller movies start to hit in like late October, and I started to really start to realize all that when Mark and I were doing like these heavy pushes for a bit, but they always push them towards the maybe sometimes the end of September. And
September this year is a little bit bigger because all the action stuff they're putting out. Equalizer 3 and Expendables 4 both come out in September, which will do well in theaters.
Yeah.
And then there's a Secret Universal movie coming out the last week. So September is kind of like an action push.
Yeah, it's ish.
And then Craven's in October, and then there's a couple like smaller Oscar films that look like the end of October.
Craven
and then
moved.
Dune is did it?
Craven was supposed to be in January of this year.
This year, yeah, supposed to be already out.
Right, and they moved it. They must have confidence in it if they're moving it to October.
I think it's going to be. I mean, I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's. I don't know how great it's going to be.
Taylor Johnson's great.
Sure, but what has Sony? I'll give you the money for the Venom movies, but what has Sony genuinely done?
You are not wrong. You are 100% right.
I've said on record, and I will say again, Sony is doing very, very intelligent counter programming by making 90s comic movies.
But make them good.
Money wise, the point is made. Quality, the point is made. Right on both you guys. But the thing is, the difference is, I think Morbius came out. It was early. When did it come
February.
out?
I thought it was.
No, was it January?
It was. I think it was. I mean, we can look this
look it up. Look it up. I think
it
was January, and they probably left it there because they said this thing stinks.
And horror, like audience.
Yeah, but it stinks. And you basically the reason why you put it in January is too because of marketing money, and you don't have to spend certain money, and the money that kind of transfer over. When did it come out? Did it come out in October?
It came out on April Fool's Day.
That makes sense.
No wonder.
Wow.
We were all way off.
It was supposed to come out in January, and they pushed it.
I think that's got pushed a million times.
All right, then maybe they're trying to trick you, thinking that they moved it, and maybe they're trying to do the same thing with Craven. But they're moving it in October. That's dangerous if it stinks because you're going to put marketing behind it.
Yeah, I'm really curious about Craven because like Aaron Taylor Johnson's riding a high after Bullet Train. Everybody's like he's coveted, and I'm hearing really good things about Spider-Verse. Well, obviously Spider-Verse, but also Madam Web. So I'm really curious what Sony looks like.
Interesting.
I love all those characters, and I want to see that thrive as well. But I just have zero faith at this point. So until a banger comes out, I'm kind of like,
wrong.
Okay,
you're not wrong. I think it's like again. I always George Bush quote. Fool me once.
Shame on.
Shame on. You
can't
fool me again. All right, before we move on over, guys, I want to tell you guys about I take AG1 by Athletic Greens every day. You guys know it. I've been talking about it forever, and there's a reason why they're on the shelf. I mean, they're on the shelf, for goodness sake. And why did I start taking it? I wanted better gut health. I wanted increased energy, immune system support. I hated taking pills, vitamins, and I wanted a supplement that actually tastes great. And that's what I do. You guys know it. I have that. I'm not going to lie to you. I saw it when I first started taking it. I was like, it's green. It's yummy. Tastes good. You get intimidated at first, but then after you take that sip, you're like, oh, man, they actually made it taste good. And I take AG1 in the morning. I put it in a water bottle, and I shake it up, and I love it. And I do it right before. Now I can do it right before the coffee. It's great. It makes me feel unstoppable. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to do it. It's good for sleep quality, too, by the way. It really helps with sleep quality. I noticed that right away. And I don't like combining all vitamins, and I've never been really a big vitamin guy, taking all the supplements and bunch of different things. This makes it easy for you. You just take it in one scoop. Done. It's 75 vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods. It's so good. It's so good, and it's so great. And you guys know for how long I've been talking about it. And I've gotten so many responses from you guys of people who've been trying AG1 and been loving it. And you get it delivered every month. Very easy to make it a daily habit. So if you are looking for an easier way to take supplements, Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. You go to athleticgreens.com/bigthing. That is athleticgreens.com/bigthing. Check it out today. All right, once again, thank you to Athletic Greens. We love Athletic Greens, man. I've been with them for such a long time, and I love them. We're so glad that they're back, and I was excited because the president of Athletic Greens started following me on Twitter. I was like, all right. I was you know why? Because this is a product that I've been talking about forever, and it's like and I got something yesterday from somebody who said, hey, I just started trying it. I love it. It's so good. It's giving me this energy. So make sure you get Athletic Greens. We want them to be with this show forever, and if you guys try it, it helps you out, and it helps the show out. So thank you. All right, we're going to thank you. You're welcome. All right, we're going to go, and we'll go to Coy here because Coy was on time. Coy, let's go with some of these stories. What do you got?
All right, so let's look here. I like the idea of, you know what, we never talk about the other side of DC. Let's talk about Gaga and Harley Quinn because I feel like some positivity be good. I really, really, really am excited for DC to hopefully have 2 through lines, right? I've been saying from the beginning I would do a shared universe in one corner and I would do a DC Black Label in another corner, which is a little bit more R-rated, and I think Joker was very, very conscious of separating itself from Batman mythos. You met a young Bruce Wayne in it. You very much had a different take on the character. That movie made $1 billion, or nearly 900 million. Who's going to correct me? But it made a lot of money because it was separate. I think Joker is a perfect template of how James Gunn can have a universe shared and then a separate piece, and that leads us to our Gaga conversation.
And let's talk about Gaga. All right, so this is the.
That's great. Is that just concept?
I don't know if it's. I don't know. I'm not sure, but it's just. I mean,
one of those AI
it's a cool. It might be, but it's but it's still, she fits the role on it, right? Yeah. I actually think she's going to be. I think she's perfect for this role. I really do. I know that it's hard because I think that Margot Robbie did such a fantastic job, and it's so fresh in your mind still. So I understand people are going to be doing that, but Lady Gaga is a really good actress. I don't care what you think about her music or not. I happen to think she's a really talented musician, but some people, maybe she's too mainstream.
I like her in both.
Yeah, but I think she's a really good actress. And here you go. This is from Comic Book Movie. Lady Gaga took to social media to respond to her Academy Award nomination for Best Song, confirming that she started shooting Todd Phillips' Joker sequel in the process. Joker, Folie à Deux. Director Todd Phillips told us it'd probably be a while before we got a look at Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn back when he debuted a promo image of Joaquin Phoenix, Arthur Fleck. But that first glimpse might be just round the corner. Gaga was nominated for an Oscar for her Top Gun Maverick theme, Hold My Hand, and took to Instagram to thank the Academy and her fans while confirming she's currently on the set of her next movie. Thank you so much to the Academy for nominating my song, Hold My Hand, for an Oscar this year, she captioned her post. Writing this song for the film Top Gun Maverick was a deep and powerful experience that I'll never forget. So grateful for the music and cinema. Love you, my co-writer, Blood Pop. I'm now on set filming. Big love to Little Monsters. All right, so anyway, so she's, just in case there was any confusion about what project she's shooting, Gaga signed up with a Joker playing card emoji. I think she's going to have a lot of fun in this role. I really do.
Just from the standpoint of, again, her whole fan base is called the Little Monsters. Like, yeah. I can't think of somebody who is so off the wall and just like her whole persona.
She wore a meat
dress. Get out of my head. But like, she wore a meat dress. Like, just if you go and watch any of her music videos, who she is rings so true to playing somebody like a Harley Quinn.
Totally.
And you guys are speaking to exactly why I think this is the right move, because if you're going to have multiple actors playing characters that are archetypal, you've got to make sure they're different corners of the character. Batman, Joker, Harley, these are all characters that can have so many different facets to them, and they can be authentic to the character while being completely different. That's why Christian Bale works as Batman and Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck. They're all very different. I think Gaga is the perfect way to have the antithesis of Margot Robbie while still being the exact right version of the character. Because Margot Robbie is playing this animated series version that is so lively and beautifully cartoonish. And I think Gaga is going to play a darker, more depraved, akin to what Joaquin Phoenix does, different than what, like, say, Barry Keoghan. They're both very dark, but they're different corners. And I think that what Gaga brings is we're going to get basically like a walk the line, but for Joker. And the only way to keep this industry fresh and to keep this genre fresh, and specifically to keep this corner fresh, is to to mix it up. So I think the musical idea is genius.
Yeah.
I think it's going to play with the insanity. I think she's going to be a doctor at Arkham, and when you get lapses in reality, it's going to break into song. I think that's going to keep a lot of the bros that misinterpreted Arthur Fleck as a hero out of that theater. I think a lot of the people that you need to piss off are pissed off. I think the more you can make incels mad by making the movie that they think is their like tribal quest against them, genius. Like everything about this casting is my jam.
I think that the idea of, I mean, if you understand the insanity that goes with the Joker, and you should understand that musical thing like right away. If it's not going to be, I mean, even if it is a full-on musical, it's not just like the reason why they just decided to make a musical is because of probably what's going on internally inside of his head, which is pretty crazy. And by putting Lady Gaga in there, it's even a more brilliant move. Yeah,
I'm just curious about. I don't think I've ever seen Joaquin. Well, no, that's
Walk the Line.
Walk the Line? Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah.
I was literally about to say see him sing. I haven't seen Walk the Line, but so I haven't seen it, but he has, so clearly he can.
Yeah.
Oh, he's incredible.
Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah,
He's like Austin Butler and Elvis, but he did.
It's hilarious though, because my father-in-law is like a big Johnny Cash fan, right? So like, there are times you could put him on and people go like, "Oh wow, is that Johnny Cash or is that Joaquin Phoenix?" Right? My father-in-law walks in, he goes, "That's not Johnny Cash." It's hilarious.
But I'm here for it, man. I mean, some of the best, I guess off the page Joker iterations we have had Joker singing. So like in Arkham Knight, there's a whole sequence where Joker, played by Mark Hamill, is like doing a whole musical number. There's plenty in Batman the Animated Series where the Joker has done musical numbers. Like it's something that I think does lend itself to this particular character and his story. So like I genuinely am excited about it, and like you said, I think Gaga's a great casting choice.
And it's a taste of the theatrical in a different way.
Yep.
I also think it's a different take, which is I'm the deeper we are into this, like this caught on really in like 06, it started 08, it took off, and it's been 15 years of comic book movies. We need to keep evolving and changing the tone.
It was probably my favorite part of Hawkeye was the Avengers musical.
Oh,
that was
funny.
hilarious.
Dude, they showed that. They did that
live.
at D23. The
You
full
told me
thing.
that.
I recorded it, but they blocked it. They wouldn't let me put it on the channel. But I had that, and I also had there was some other song that I had put on there, but they blocked it for D23, but not Celebration. It was bizarre. Anyway, but
like,
yeah,
I could do this all day, right?
yeah. It was great. It was great. But to see this is exciting. I agree. You got to change it up a little bit too. And Joker was my favorite movie that year. And the thing with that movie is that I think that's I was talking about this recently with Avatar. There's tons of movies, not just Avatar, that after a movie's popular, you're going to find people who hate on it because and that's not just with movies. It's in general. It's an actor in general, a musician in general, a sports team in general. After they're winning too many times, people start to hate them because it's just the nature of human beings, right? And I think Joker also got that because I remember when Joker came out, there was that concern of what was going to happen, and there was a controversy around it. But there was also, once the movie came out and did really well, everybody was raving about it, and then you started to see everybody start to hate on it. And I'm like, I don't do that. I'm like, this is however, and people go, "Oh, you did that with Last Jedi." Yeah, but because I kept watching Last Jedi, and the more I watched it, the more I said I don't like this movie, and you're allowed to do that as well too. And maybe and that's also to make the point with Joker. There might have been people who watched it the first time and then go, you know what, I don't like this take of it, and that's totally fair. But I'm just saying that there's also a part where if something's too popular, people start to go.
I think Joker is and I said it at the top, I think Joker is the exact proof of concept that people understand that you can have this and that at the same time.
Right.
So Joker existing shows that James Gunn can do a shared universe, and that speaks to, we've talked a lot about Matt Reeves' Batman. I don't want to touch the shared universe.
Right.
Joker's proof of concept that Pattinson can stay over there, and then keep Pattinson as a younger Batman, cast a mid-30s like Justice League Batman the same age as the new Superman, and then launch that way. But like, I really think you can keep things separate, and I'm hoping that's the announcement soon.
So curious what's going to happen.
Dude, this week's the last week we won't know. When I see you again, we'll have answers.
You sure he's not going to push it again?
I think he's going to push it.
The slate?
I think
he's been
push
very clear that every day he tweets, he's like, still January, we still got 5 days.
Really? Recently?
Yeah. Oh, well, I think yesterday he reconfirmed.
Okay,
it might be the 31st.
They're probably just waiting for the Shazam trailer.
I think they got to and that's going to take 24 hours.
Right.
The internet's fickle.
All right, maybe you're right. We'll see. All
I'd
right,
say
Winston,
Friday or Monday.
You're up, but let's see. So
Right.
we got a couple things.
I'm actually going to go. Oh, there's a lot of good ones. All right, I'm gonna go with probably one of my favorite actors in the MCU. Let's talk Chloe Bennett, man.
All right, Chloe's close friend, Chloe Bennett. Let's
Chloe's close friend.
Coy's close.
I'm
friend.
now Chloe. I'm Chloe Bennett. Takes off mask.
Yeah, that's right. All right, so let's get into this.
She's so fun.
Yeah, goddamn, I wish.
She's so fun.
She used to be at all those premieres. I'm sure not there as much anymore. But Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. star Chloe Bennett hints at MCU return as Quake. Amid persistent rumors that she is set to reprise the role of Daisy Johnson, a.k.a. Quake, in the MCU, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. star Chloe Bennett has dropped a big hint about her potential return. Rumors have been doing the rounds about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. star Chloe Bennett potentially reprising the role of Daisy Johnson, a.k.a. Quake, in the MCU for quite a while. And the actress just dropped a pretty big hint that she is indeed set to return. Murphy's Multiverse owner Charles Murphy tends to tweet out Quake gifts to his troll followers for some reason, and when he made a few not-so-nice comments about Bennett's acting, he can't imagine Bennett sharing the screen with talents like Florence Pugh, Haley Steinfeld, or Samuel L. Jackson. She responded with the following: "Hey man, you seem like a mean loser. Also, I have a strong feeling that your tweets aren't going to age well." Yeah, that's right. Far from confirmation, but a decent indication that Miss Johnson will be showing up in the MCU at some point. When and where could be hard to say, but Secret Invasion seems to be the most popular theory. I think that's true. Yeah. But yeah, all right. So Winston, go. You picked this one. What do you think? You think we're going to see her back?
I certainly hope so. She has been so interesting to me because I remember when Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. First was coming out, and I remember seeing the interview and how she was just like bawling. Like I'm trying to remember where she said she found out the news that she got the role. But just how it completely changed everything. So I automatically became a huge fan of her, knowing how much this meant to her. But I genuinely think when I go back and watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that like she is one of the lone lights that was consistent throughout.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there were ups and downs with that show left and right. I really love Clark Gregg and everything that he did. But for me, she was the one that I was always coming back to that show for. And nothing would make me happier, including the fact that Quake, just as a character, not just in that show, but just as a character in general, is so interesting and so key to a lot of things that does happen with S.H.I.E.L.D., with Maria Hill, with Nick Fury. If you're going to get into this entire thing of Secret Invasion, you have to have her be there. I think that's pretty
Was
major.
Sam Jackson ever in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Once.
Okay.
He was in it at the end of season 1. That was when they were still like, this is all connected.
Right.
He was in the season finale of season 1 when they were all about to die, and he pulled out a rocket launcher and like pulled her out of like a place that was getting flooded and stuff like that. And he was like, stay the course. And like pretty much that was it. But
yeah. See, so I watched the first episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and I bailed.
You were like, nah.
I mean, this
It
shows.
was it did.
I heard it got
well.
better. I heard it got better.
It did.
I remember that from just being a Collider all the time. People, and I think you might even said that.
It's not for me.
It's not for you. Okay.
But I
Maybe it
like
wasn't
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And like wrestling and certain sports. Like
Yeah.
I appreciate the fandom and I really appreciate her passion. And it's just not everything's for everybody. So
Absolutely.
it's not to disparage the show when I say it's not for me, because I've tried it as well
Yeah.
and it's just not my thing. But I've always loved her passion, because even it's been like a decade or 7 years or whatever, and she always sings its praises
Yeah.
and always is so in. So I'd love to see her get some MCU love.
Well, that was kind of my point of it, is that I didn't watch. I thought it was kind of corny, and I didn't like how they didn't. You could tell at the same time Perlmutter was still around. You really didn't. Feige wasn't connected to it, and all that, and you could tell. However, the one thing that I always did notice was her, and because of interviews, if I was browsing around and I said, let me tune back into this, I would pop up in a scene with her and go, well, she's good.
Yeah.
And I always said that about her. And I didn't know what the hell was going on with her storyline and stuff, but I always knew that she and you could see how invested she was. That's why I brought it up, that every time you go to those premieres, she was always there.
Yeah.
The Marvel one, she was always kind of connected to being part of the family. And I think Secret Invasion to me
would be a perfect way to do that. It would be a perfect way to do that. And it's funny that you mentioned that, because again, Feige did kind of, before they got to the space of where we are now with Marvel TV, it was even remember the precursor to Daredevil and all that, and letting Netflix do whatever they're doing, which they still a couple times were like, oh yeah, the green guy was around, or like whatever.
Right. The incident.
In this, one of the biggest things that happened with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which was amazing, they did have a direct correlation in the show.
First episode, right?
Sort of, but I was going to say in season 2 when Winter Soldier dropped. So the whole idea about Hydra being all throughout S.H.I.E.L.D.,
right.
some stuff happened in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that then revealed itself in Winter Soldier that then had an effect on the show,
Right.
and it was the beginning of them kind of testing all that out. So there were some good things that were coming out of it, but like you said, it was all Chloe Bennett was, in my opinion, was that so light.
Yeah, and I think that she, and she is really good. And I think that if you can bring her into the fray through the MCU, the same way that you're bringing Charlie Cox through as Daredevil, it's maybe not in as big of a role, obviously, but to still have her involved, maybe she's got a pretty big role in all this. We don't really know. We've only seen a little bit from Secret Invasion thus far, and that's that show to me is I'm really excited for
every
that
bit
show.
of footage of that show is like so Winter Soldier, and that is my favorite piece of my favorite corner of the MCU.
Yeah,
I have this gut feeling that we're about to get Andor again, but with the MCU.
I hope you're right.
That's the vibe I'm getting.
I hope you're right.
I really hope that's what happens.
All right, listen. Before we do that, I want to tell you I'm so excited about our brand new sponsors. We got 2 new sponsors I've been telling you about all week. Here we go. I'm pumped to be working with Green Chef. I don't know if you guys have noticed. No one said anything, but I've been losing weight. Why? I've been taking care of myself. And one of those ways I've been partnered up with Green Chef. Really excited for that. Green Chef. It is a CCOF certified meal kit company. And Green Chef makes eating well easy with plans to fit everyday lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or you're just looking to eat more balanced meals. Green Chef offers a range of recipes to suit your preferences. If you're looking to kickstart a keto diet in the new year, they make it easier than ever to keep a keto diet with a brand new limited-time keto kickoff in 2023. They expanded their menu. You can choose from over 30 recipes weekly. You have the options to mix and match. It's amazing. It's a lot of fun too. If you crave more servings of a favorite recipe, you can now double the portions in your weekly order, and you can just do it with one click. They offer a 10-minute lunch. Each week's menu includes 2 convenient, low-prep, and nutritious lunch recipes ready in just 10 minutes. There's no cooking required, and it's perfect for when you're on the go or pressed for time at the office. Eat well at lunchtime. I'll tell you, that's exactly why, one of the main reasons. I have no time these days. It's hard. You guys know that once I went on my own and I started doing my own thing, it's awesome, it's liberating, it's free, but it's time-consuming. And to run into the house and make and have lunches, it's tough. Having it ready, knowing what I'm going to have on this menu, knowing exactly what's right for me to be able to keep up with the diet and make sure that I can still stay healthy. Green Chef has been tremendous. And it's sustainable too, by the way. Their recipe features organic produce, premium proteins, and sustainably sourced ingredients. You can raise your food standards in 2023 and reap the flavor benefits. So, one of the main things you really need to do, you've got to use that code. You got to go to greenchef.com/thing60. It's thing60. Go to greenchef.com/thing60. Why is it 60? Because you get 60% off plus free shipping. It's really great. It is the #1 meal kit for eating well. Facts. Thank you to Green Chef. Help yourself. Help the show. Get yourself some Green Chef. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Give online therapy a try at betterhelp.com/bigthing and get on your way to being your best self. I'm so excited that BetterHelp is back. You guys know when we were with SEN, we were doing SEN Live, BetterHelp was with us, and we really, really were such major fans and so pumped to know that they are coming back to be with Big Thing. If you're at your best, you can do great things. And sometimes life gets you bogged down and you can feel overwhelmed, like you're not showing up in the way that you want to. I can tell you right now that this was the case for me. I've talked about this not too long ago, about a year ago. I was in that headspace. I was there, and I remember I'll be honest, BetterHelp, and it helped me tremendously. I've talked about it. And, it's just you get into that rut. Working with a therapist, it can help you get closer to the best version of you. Because when you feel empowered, you're more prepared to take on everything that life throws at you. It helped me. Be able to talk to somebody, and I've mentioned this in the past. I've been in places when I've decided not to talk to people, and I got myself in trouble from doing it. I didn't talk to anybody. I let things bottle up inside. Don't do it. Because I'm telling you, when you talk to somebody, it helps. It really, really does help. If you're thinking of giving therapy a try, BetterHelp is a great option. It's convenient, it's flexible, it's affordable, and it's entirely online. You fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and then switch therapist anytime, no additional charge. If you want to live a more empowered life, therapy can get you there. Visit BetterHelp.com/bigthing today, and you get 10% off your first month. BetterHelp, HELP.com/bigthing. All right, so once again, thank you to Green Chef and to BetterHelp. As I mentioned before, you help yourself out, you help us out. You help the show by getting one of these sponsors, and when you do that, though, I put the codes in the description. I put little iCards in there as well. When you do that, let me know what you've tried. Let me know what you like. We made sure, and I had this conversation with the guys not too long ago too, that we make sure that we only get sponsors here that we enjoy, that we like. Coy, Winston, I've been doing Athletic Greens, Manscaped, BetterHelp, Green Chef. I mean, I lost weight, humps. And I said it. I said it in just before. And why do you think it is? I'm eating better. I'm eating healthier. And when they said, "Hey, Green Chef," hell yeah. And Brett was talking about BetterHelp forever. And now look at that. So we're happy to have him.
Yo, get your mind right, keep your body tight, helps the show out. All right, come on now.
See? Now. All right, so I forgive you for being late. That was good.
Because I gave you a little button.
That was just good. It was just good. It was solid. All right, here we go. Let's get to the next one. I'm gonna go here. We talked about him before, and we talked about how we'll see what he's gonna say. But James Gunn, man, let's get to this James Gunn story, because there's been a lot of talk, man. There's been a lot of talk about the casting. It's like, there's so much. What are you doing? This stinks. That stinks. Everything stinks, is what people say on the twits. So this is what James Gunn says from Dark Horizons, and I'm going to guess it's Garth Franklin. Yep, because I think Garth Franklin owns this site. With only a few days in January, Guardians of the Galaxy director and new DC Studios co-chief James Gunn, he's still promising that an update on the future of the DC universe is coming this month, probably January 31st. Sorry. That update is expected to unveil the first titles in the 10 year. We have one fan that hates it so much. I think he unsubscribed. He might not even be around anymore. He hates it. Oh, he hates it. He tweeted at me about it. He hates it. Might as well have walked into his house and took a dump in his living room. He hates it so much.
Right now, if he is still listening, he's like, yes,
he hates it.
I'm just imagining like someone's driving home and they're listening to the podcast and all of a sudden just bleh, and they're just like, oh God.
Oh, he hates it. He hates it. I've gotten a few people who hate it, but I'm drinking bubbly, tough shit. Let's get back to what I'm talking about here. But be professional. Wrong show. wrong show. People. Yeah.
Who are you talking to right now that you need to like be in your best P's and Q's? Like
100%. No,
that's the point of the show.
That's exactly what it's.
I'm gonna tell you right now. If Chloe Bennett comes to do an interview, you acting like this, I'll whoop your ass.
Well, it depends. See, the thing is, there are some people that if you got familiar, like if Katie's coming in.
Okay,
right?
but you're like good friends.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So it depends. Like, and who knows? Chloe comes on enough. Maybe one time she rips a fart in the middle of the thing. Like, good for you. Good for you, Chloe. Tear it out.
Don't do this.
Tear it out.
Now that he's going to watch The Boys, when we get offered The Boys cast members, you can do what you want.
Your first word, Chloe, on being back. Thank you, Chloe. Very nice to see you. Any other words, Chloe? Thank you, Chloe.
You just spent 10 minutes praising this woman, and now immediately.
So much.
Hey, it's fart circus. What are you going to do?
Oh, I hate you.
People are going to tag her and say, like, they said so many nice things.
Not only today did he burp in the middle of a James Gunn thing, he insinuated that Chloe Bennett would do a fart parade on his show in an interview. The balls on this guy. The balls.
The road to 70,000 subscribers. We're on the road. We're on the road to 70K. This is how we get there.
You ever wake up one day and go like, "Wow, this is my life."
Most days,
shit.
Especially here.
There are worse days to go. There are worse places to go to work.
I know.
100%.
I'll tell you that.
Trust me, I know.
What are we talking about? James Gunn. All right, listen to this.
Bang bang.
Getting back to James. James Gunn says that it's coming. We'll see. The update is expected to unveil the first titles in the 10-year plan that he and Peter Safran have come up with to kick off the new era of the DC universe on the big screen. What those plans are, it's not very clear yet. But Gunn is known to have close relationship with the actors that he works with, so don't be surprised if some of the stars of his previous films come along for his upcoming DC efforts. Earlier this week, a fan on Twitter asked Gunn not to encourage his Guardians cast to follow him to DCU, as they want him to find fresh actors that can craft brilliant characters and forge new memories for audiences, which Gunn responded. We have hundreds of roles to cast. As I've always done, some will be brand new faces, some will be actors I've worked with before, and some will be actors you know who I've never worked with. What matters most is the actor fits the role and that they're easy to work with. Last month, Gunn indicated on social media that Steven Seagal was cast. No, I'm just kidding. That Superman was a huge...
Easy to work with.
I thought I was having a stroke because I'm reading the stories. Like, where does it say Steven Seagal?
Steven Seagal and Tommy Lee Jones have been cast. And Superman was a huge priority.
Your new Superman and Batman, folks.
Yeah, in the new era of the... Tommy, will you come to set? No! Superman was a huge priority in the new era of the DC Universe, and he's writing a movie with a younger version of the superhero, which is why Henry Cavill isn't returning. All right, so lots here.
Yeah.
The first seems like Coy is right on this, that Gunn is very adamant that we're getting an announcement soon, that slate is coming. I hope it's not just a tweet. I'd like to see him do like a presentation. Yeah,
I'm really curious because I've talked a lot about how we've never seen a universe end, which is fascinating. But I also think that we've never seen an announcement of this scale, because when the Marvel universe started, it wasn't what it is today, and there wasn't the anticipation behind it.
I don't know, man. That one at Marvel when Chadwick Boseman came out and all that.
Yeah, but I'm saying like we've never had it
at the beginning. So like
the
the
very
Iron,
start.
like the Iron
we've never
Man.
had like a
Right.
this
You're
is
saying before
everything
right.
before
I
anything.
got you.
And so there's no precedent for how that's even done. So since it's a first of something and there's no precedent and there isn't a con that it's going to be at, there isn't a fandom announced. This could literally be done via Twitter. This could be a video present. It could be a PowerPoint. Like we have no idea what this is.
I hope it's video because I think that it's like the age-old first impressions are everything, right? And yes, Gunn is established. Gunn, people know in our space know who Gunn is. But you want to get a video out there. You want to have because the thing is, it also kind of establishes who he is as a showman, right? Like if it's just like, oh, here's my tweet that me and Peter are gonna do, it's cool. Even if the announcement's pretty fun, it's kind of lackluster as opposed to here's a video where we edited it together. I got that James Gunn flair. James Gunn, by the way,
showman. What
people don't realize what he also did is, and nobody ever talks about this, which is crazy. When did Guardians come out? 2014.
Yes.
It did 2014?
2012 is Avengers. It was 3 later. I think it's 2014.
So in 2013, they had just started filming Guardians. And it was 2 weeks that they started filming Guardians. And everyone's like, you're not going to get a trailer at Guardians.
Dude, I remember this.
It was 2 weeks. And he's like, it's just a little thing we put together. It looked like a 4.5-minute trailer that the movie was ready to come out.
Yeah.
And it was the steal of the Comic-Con is the one I remember the most. I think Ultron also maybe showed a preview
and
also,
that was 10 years ago.
And it was 2 weeks of shooting. And I remember I always use that as the standard, and this is kind of my point of all this, is I use this as comparison. Like, well, they're not going to show anything because they don't have enough footage. Guardians had such a trailer, like a really full trailer in 2 weeks of shooting.
Was this the prison scene of like?
But it wasn't just a prison scene. They showed that, but it wasn't just. But it was like, dude, it was like what he did is he went through and the stuff that he could render and he was able to put together. He put a trailer that you understood what the movie was about, what the tone was about. I want to see him do something like that. I want to see. I mean, obviously they're not shooting anything, but like, edit some stuff. Give me that gun flare and show me like what your slate is through like Flash. I mean, no pun intended.
I think we're getting something because he's one of us. I think the reason the 2 week thing worked is because Gunn went to every Comic-Con since like the 90s. Like he's one of us to the point where he knows what he wants to see.
That's why tweet would be such a letdown.
I think he knows what we need to receive as fans. Like he's not making this for everyone. He's making this for us. Like this corner of the internet. So I think we're going to get a presentation, maybe like a mini fandom where they just put together a video and it's on like a glass stage, like what are they called? Shiny stage, when you have the CGI in front and back of you. I think we'll get something presentational, but I do think it's going to be a matter of is it ever going to be enough for the audience? Like, he might give us 5 movies and maybe release dates, and is that going to be enough? People are going to, we want
No,
casting,
there'll be criticism. Still be criticism,
so like,
for sure.
I just hope he trusts himself.
There will always be criticisms,
Yeah.
and it's funny seeing this tweet. I remember when it came out, and I literally thought, I've never met this kid. He immediately that kid backpedaled so fast. The
Who's that? Oh, yeah, the Coy Bennett kid?
No. The kid that put that tweet out.
Oh, about the
Please
Guardians
don't
kid.
use
Right,
the
right,
same
yeah,
actors.
yeah.
Blah. As soon as Gunn responded to him, which is, you've said this a couple times with some people when they make comments, the minute you acknowledge, they go, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry."
You're a real person?
Dude backed off. He goes, "No, you're right. I don't even know. I'm sorry."
But good for him too, though, for saying that. I mean, yeah, you're right. He backed up, but good for him too for saying not being a turd on the loose.
No. I get it. I just, what this has felt like to me, and this is where I give Gunn so much credit. This literally feels like a parent dealing with like their 7-year-old who thinks they know better and wants to throw a tantrum and be like, "Will you relax?
Stop this.
Sit down and be
Stop
quiet.
This. Right.
Let me be the parent. And when it's ready,
trust me,
just be quiet."
Yeah, it's like, look. Here's the thing. And to use that, I'm going to give you a dinner. I'm pretty confident in my cooking skills. I'm going to put a lot of ingredients in it, and I'm going to serve it up. I'm hoping everybody likes it. A couple people might be allergic to it. A couple people might not like the taste or the smell, and that's fine. But this is my dish. Enjoy. And I think that's exactly what he's going to do and what he should be doing. And that's why I think until then, like, and people make this point, and I don't disagree. When I say that Gunn is on Twitter way too much, and they go, yeah, but he's one of the things about him is that he's so engaging, and that's what people like. And you also get a lot of news bits from him when he does it, and it's kind of it's as strategic as anything else. I don't know him, so I don't know. I was like, I would just be concerned for him mentally because there's so much garbage out there, especially Twitter. Go away, please go away, please go away, please go away. I hate Twitter. So if it was. But the thing is, he knows how to use it as a tool. And that's also my big concern is that I just hope it's not a tweet. Here's the slate. We're so excited. Peter and I have done this. And there's a big thread of all this thing that everybody will cover. And it's like, show me a video, make the video go viral, put it on the Warner Brothers
YouTube, and let it triple.
And let it do tons of views and let them monetize it. Let them make some cash off of it.
That would be a little lackluster if it was just a tweet thread.
I hope not.
But I also could see him in the vein of how Peacemaker is, how he's done Guardians, all that. I could see him putting out a tweet thread and then like a few hours later, the next day, being, "You didn't actually think I was just gonna just give you tweets, right?" And then come at you and like give you something.
That's cool. But the only problem with that is that people will then say, "Well, the reason you did is because of the backlash, because people said like you did." Same way those turds over at the Razzies finally omitted that the nomination for the little girl that they nominated. They took it away.
Oh,
good.
What little
Firestarter.
girl?
There was an 11-year-old girl that they nominated for worst actress, and people lost their minds, rightfully so, myself included, and they took it away after the backlash.
You should totally publicly pick on children. It's good for you.
So stupid.
I think James Gunn is going to be able to withstand the negative tweets better than most because of what he's been through with, like, he got fired from Marvel, came back, DC, promoted. Like, he's weathered a lot, but I also think that he's eliminating a lot of conjecture every time he does it, which is a good long-term plan.
Yeah.
I think that, like, clickbait sites have had way less that they could do because they'll just be like, no, untrue. And he was doing that at Marvel. He was doing that with Guardians 3.
That's a good point.
And I think that if the precedent is set at the beginning that James Gunn won't tolerate your lies, that's a great thing for a studio head.
It's a good. Yeah, it is. It's still, for me, it's more so just a concern about mentally. But if he's like, don't bother me, homie. I'm just
feel
doing
like
my
we talked
thing.
about The Rock when I was worried about The Rock, and then
Yeah.
like The Rock had a week of quiet on the Instagram, and now he's back, like, working out and promoting
right.
stuff. I feel like James Gunn has seen the darkest. This
Storms
pop culture.
pass.
Yeah,
Storms pass. But the thing is with him is that he's riding a really big boat into a storm every other week. As where The
daily.
Rock was in one big storm, and now he's out of that storm.
and the next 5 years, that's a storm, man. Because
It is.
DC is two different fandoms. It's a Snyder fandom and a comic fandom, or like an awareness of different types of comics.
You're 100% right, though, because he does. Now, look, there's going to be some fans that are loyal to Snyder that will never, ever, no matter what, they'll never let it go, and they'll never go to the other side. Is what they feel like. Unfortunately, I think for them, because they might miss out on good movies, but that's up to them. There is a side that just supports that says, okay, look, I don't have faith in it. He's a Marvel guy. I don't have faith in it, but I'm gonna go watch the movies, and if I like it, I like it. And those people, hopefully, the product will come out, and they'll go, okay, I'm on board. You got me.
I understand that we want to give. We want to go based off of, like, you have examples, you have people's resumes, you look at it, and that a lot of times is the indicator. But I feel like in the same way that you guys were like, give Robert Pattinson a chance. Like he can probably crush this Batman thing. Like give it a chance. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I genuinely wish that people would do the same thing with Gunn that are freaking out about this.
But remember, there are a lot of people who are. But as we always say, the loudest voice is the loudest.
minority.
Yeah, it's the loudest voice, but they're the minority. And
The
it's
best fan event or whatever Oscar moment was the loud minority of Snyder, and then we found out that like some of that was bots. Like they literally have the ability to make their voices louder artificially. Like it's not as big of a thing, and I think that hopefully the next 4 movies get to have like some love without that loudness, because this is forever, man. This is the next 5 years. Like we're gonna have this sect,
and we're gonna find out. So James Gunn obviously makes. And to address the other part of the main thing about the casting in general, right? I love this comments, because I think that like any other, there comes a superstition with anything, whether it's sports, movies, any of these things, and working with certain actors that you, and it's not just the superstition. Obviously, you have a relationship with Scorsese with De Niro and DiCaprio. If it's, you can make tons of Dan Kaluuya and Jordan Peele. Like there's tons and tons of examples. However, it can't be the only thing, right? And and I think though, by bringing in new people, learning, and what I loved the comment that he made where he said, like, I also want to bring in people that you guys know, but I've never worked with, people I've wanted to work with forever. Like, and the thing is, for him to be able to bring people in, for people who have worked with them, and people really like working with this guy, and he brings the best out of people. Look what he did with John Cena. Like I was not a John and Batista, but I was not a John Cena acting fan. He brought the best out of that guy in the Peacemaker.
Out of both, what I think he does, which is pretty smart, he's giving them characters that aren't the same as what they did.
But he
in
knows
wrestling.
what the personalities can do.
But exactly. But he I'm sure it sounds like he might be a wrestling fan of some sort, but he's able to look and see, okay, I've seen what you've been able to do in that realm. Let's find a way to anchor that in. And like you look at Drax, you look at a Peacemaker, and both of them kind of have that showman element to them. And he knows how to bring the best out of people. The fact that he can work with a Zoe Saldana, a Chris Pratt, and a Batista all in the same cast and make that work, and do voice acting with Bradley Cooper.
The fact that he knew Bradley Cooper could be Rocket was always one of my big ones. Because when they announced Rocket Raccoon, I was like, oh, it's Jason Statham.
Vin Diesel is Groot.
He's bold. And I also think that you mentioned the Twilight thing, and I think that's a really good example. But what I find most interesting is Gunn doesn't have a Twilight. Like, I like Twilight. I read them. I like them. But there's nothing to point to.
No. I get that. People make the argument. The people that are going to do that, it's Marvel. It's Marvel. It's all silly.
I see what you're saying. So
He played for the
Twilight
Yankees.
is
He
Marvel.
can't play for the Red
Yeah.
Sox.
But not even that. Like one of the videos we put out about, you put out a short of if Marvel and DC win, that's a good thing. That's a good thing for comic book fans. And of course, there were the comments in there that were like, no, because Marvel's changed. And I'm like,
I love what's hilarious about that. So to let you know, that's the one, like for this channel.
Yeah.
I look at all the comments. I respond to all of them.
Yeah.
I have never looked at the shorts comments.
Oh, really? That's fair. Well, it was my bad. It wasn't a short. It was the Instagram one where we co-tech. But I get you. Yeah. I literally because I spend more time. I spend more time on Instagram, so that's part of it. Where I was like, okay, you are allowed to think that you think that the Marvel movies are stupid, but don't come out here in these streets and not pretend that they haven't done billions and pretend that like
because they think they're fighting on another team, which is so silly. It's like if we should, but either way.
But the Sox versus Yankees is good for the MLB, and I honestly think that DC exceeding expectations is going to make Marvel work harder, and I think that this is literally a rising tide lifting all boats. And it's so ridiculous that there's this like blood feud. The comics like team up. That there's the amalgam universe,
but it's not there between the actual people.
It's through the fans
which is unfortunate. It's like because it's similar to what we were talking about, where there's videos of people who just hating on particular things to hate it, and they can't like it now because if they do, it's going against their brand, and they can't like. So if you make all these videos against a particular show that's coming out or a particular movie that's coming out, and you're saying that the reason why is because of the agenda that the studios have this too, and then you go and you see it and you love it, you can't say that. You have to hate it. I mean, it's the same thing with a lot of these fans that decide I love this and I hate that.
Can we minor bit of like philosophy, just like life lesson? Can we make 2023? It's not gonna happen, but can we make 2023 the year where people can just apologize and be like, "I was wrong. I was wrong, gentlemen. I was late."
No, because there's too much money in it for those people.
I was late. Yeah. I was late. I was wrong. I'm sorry. I take responsibility, and it is what it is.
No.
Negativity is so much more profitable.
They make so much money on if they're going to make negative videos and they put it out and it gets 100,000 views.
The internet is so detrimental for our mental health, not just because of how its attention like permanence, not only because of like its exponential growth, not only because it's what we rely on, but because it is every dumb tweet does 10 times better than every smart tweet. Being ignorant is always going to excel, and simplicity is more digestible. So it's dumbing us down 3 different ways, all simultaneously, and leading us toward negativity. And those, like, you don't read the Instagram comments. When I talk about DC, I literally have to acknowledge I either have to be mentally prepared or not touch it, because I know those videos do better when there's dumb comments, and that hurts me to make them, because I'm making them altruistically, going like, man, I really hope this happens.
You get too beat up by it
100%. My mental health is awful when I've read YouTube, but it's also
that's why you got to get BetterHelp.
BetterHelp. The anti-YouTube
You're doing
comments.
good things today.
Solid work.
Are you making up for the nonsense this morning?
Hey man, look.
Coy, you're back on the shit list.
For being neutral.
You know how it is. I may be faltering in one way, but I'm coming through in the other.
You got it. All right. Well, speaking of Coy, let's get to we'll do 2 more.
Okay.
And then we'll call it a day. Go ahead.
I want to talk about this. I love this quote from the screenwriter of Kang. This is a really interesting perspective, and I think it gives a lot more than the trailers have. So I want to talk about this quote.
All right, let's talk about it. So next month's Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania kicks off not just the 5th phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but properly introduces Jonathan Majors' villain Kang the Conqueror, the big antagonist for the overall MCU for at least the next few years. Kang steps into the void left by Thanos after his defeat back in the 2019's Endgame. 4 years on, the MCU has been accused of being somewhat rudderless in its 4th phase, with little overall cohesion post-Endgame beyond introducing some new faces. This will likely change with Kang's presence, which will bring things into focus into time for the inevitable team-up to take him down. To take him down. Film Avengers Kang. Take him down. Film. Is that something?
For the inevitable team up to take him down, film Avengers Kang Dynasty. That makes sense. It's like
I get it. The first 2 of the new Avengers films in the works. Jeff Loveless serves as a writer on both Quantumania and Kang Dynasty. Speaking with SFX Magazine, he says the key to Kang is to dig into how, unlike Thanos, Kang is still very much a human. He says, "To me, it's all about the humanity. Obviously, Thanos is a great iconic villain, but he's also a big purple CGI guy. He's an alien from outer space. The thing I really wanted to lean into is that Kang is a human being. Kang's also a very lonely character. We're going to be seeing a lot of him in a lot of different ways going forward, but I really wanted to introduce the humanity and even the vulnerability of his character before he gets to such apocalyptic Avengers scale heights." Phase 4 has seen Shang-Chi, She-Hulk, Ms. Marvel, Moon Knight, The Eternals, a new iteration of Hawkeye, Captain America, and the Black Panther all introduced, and at least some of them finally come together in the next Avengers entry. Kang is a top-tier A-list Avengers villain. What do you do when you feel you're not enough? When you feel like you're not enough against that? How do you step up to face the challenge of this generation? Who is Thanos on an exponential level? He's almost as infinite Thanos. I think we're setting things up for a pretty dynamic story. As I'm building to Avengers, I want it to feel like a generational struggle. Phase 4 felt like the birth of new characters. You're giving everyone a little bit of breath. You're broadening out the universe, and you have fun Disney Plus shows that are elevating characters. And now I think it's time to put the pedal to the gas again and really take these new characters that we like and throw them into the fire. All right, Coy, you hear all that? First thoughts.
That is a trailer. Like what he just described is the cohesion that people have complained about. It's accelerating people complained about. So what I love is Kang can be infinite, and he's almost a tragic figure, as he describes, in that he is a conqueror with nothing left to conquer, and that's somehow sad. And he also has love elements. He's got, we met Renslayer in Loki. There's all these things that make him human. So you need a character much like Thanos, where you're like, man, there's the Thanos is right concept. You need to be like, I see where he's coming from. And if there's anything we've learned about Jonathan Majors these last 5 years, is he is so dynamic. He is so captivating. He is so, like, you lean into everyone's performances. So for me, Kang is probably the most excited I've been for a villain since the MCU started, because I know the comic, but I also realize that Thanos can only go so far. This can literally be the next 10 years. This is a guy that's infinite. So what I'm excited about is we will probably see the Scarlet Centurion, which is a version of Kang that's in the future that is the great ancestor of both Reed Richards and Doom. We'll likely see Immortus, which is who I think they'll be facing in Secret Wars. I think we'll get Iron Lad through the Young Avengers. I think we'll get multiple Kangs just in this next film, because you'll notice he's got one sleeve and two sleeves. I think that's a marker of a visual of two different Kangs. I think we're going to get a multitude of a character, and we'll get to see Jonathan Majors and his Shakespearean talents through different ranges, and I think we're going to be more sympathetic to some than others, and I think it's a really important commentary on humanity that villains can be different levels of sympathetic. I think we're getting one of the best villains in cinema history if it's nailed right.
I have an idea of what I think is going to happen, and I also have a hope. So I have an idea that because Kang is so infinite, that a lot of Phase 4 and some of the stuff we're about to see in Phase 5 is just going to set up for similar storylines that Kang will have lived. Because even his whole speech of, like, I've lived thousands of lives, I've done all, like, you know what I'm saying, all that. I would not be surprised if you get, like, you know, like the moment with, oh my God, my brain. It'll come back to me, but my point is a lot of the stuff that we have seen in these films, he ends up mirroring, and what I actually hope happens in Kang Dynasty, because they lightly did it in Infinity War, is that you actually make Kang Dynasty where Kang is the protagonist, and so we're genuinely following him the whole course of the film, and then the Avengers kind of come in here and there as like the thorn in his side, and then you can flip it to the other side for what's the follow-up of Kang Dynasty? Secret Wars. So then you flip it with Secret Wars, and maybe they're the focus again. But I think that make him the star of that movie, and that's what we're building up towards, is to see his story unfold.
So I think some of Phase 4 has been multiversal. I think some of the universes we've been to haven't been in our 616. I think we're going to find out in Kang Dynasty, some of the people we've met are alternate versions, and then in Kang Dynasty we meet them in the end, like, oh, that Spider-Man hasn't met that Hawkeye, or oh, this is, and we find out. I wonder if
that'll be confusing as hell to people.
Guaranteed. But they're gonna have to. But that's the oversimplification of pop culture. I think it'd be good for people to have to think. Maybe,
yeah, I know, but don't.
If anyone can do it, it's Disney. If anyone can make people like read a book, somebody.
You also have, before we even get to that point, you also have what? 15 movies to explain this. It's not like true. You know what I mean.
Spider-Verse did it in one.
Listen. The one thing I will say that, because I said it the other day when we were Winston and I were talking about Ant-Man, and I thought that the trailer itself was really good, but the end I was worried about, because it seems like not only I feel like I said what I said at one point. I think we made a short out of it. I said I'm going to be bummed if he dies in this first one, or if he's defeated in this first one, because it's like, you're just gonna kind of take him down a little bit after. But then someone said in the comments of YouTube when we were talking about it was, well, the thing is, you got to remember that he's infinite, and that all these different characters come in, he learns from it, and these things happen. So if he'll come back stronger, and he'll come back. So, and that made me go, okay.
I think we'll take out a Kang.
Yeah, like taking out one is, and that's me having to learn more about it, because I went back recently again and watched that Loki scene. That scene is so important.
Yeah.
It's so important. If you have not watched Loki, you really need to watch it for that scene alone. That scene is so important because those two are or she's responsible for all of this, because he had it locked down.
He literally warned Sylvie. He said to her, "Yeah, you can kill me, but understand, you about to open up a can."
They're all coming, and the idea of like how, basically going off of this comment, right, of like the lonely kind of, because the understanding of all these Kangs first was to do the right thing. It was and then they all started fighting against each other.
And he who remains is a benevolent Kang. The only Kang we've met is good compared to other ones. So we're gonna see what a malevolent Kang is, but we're all gonna see multifaceted versions of that. I know. That's why I'm thinking it's multiple universes we've already met, because that scene could have been the breaking of the glass, and we could have different pieces. And how genius
Loki
would it be?
Season 2 is going to be very interesting,
and it would make it rewatchable. You'd go back through Phase 4 and wonder which is which piece.
Yeah, how's Loki 2? Maybe they explain that in Loki 2.
Totally could. And I think that'll be a really interesting way for Kevin Feige, who said from the beginning, trust me, this will all come together. Yeah. Trust me, this. And I also think that we're about to see, you look at the tech in the 10 rings versus the bangle versus, there's a lot of those elements in the Ant-Man trailer. I think we're going to see a lot of this jewelry be related to Kang. I think him and the Eternals might have been.
Well, you could also do it this way too, the way you're talking about it, because if you did, it would also make sense then in Secret Wars, if you're like, they're all coming in, and we're open up all these different universes. And even though it's kind of like a cheat, it still is different universes because of what Coy just said.
And that doesn't make it cheap. The problem I was worried about was
mean?
Steve Rogers coming back, or those things would be cheap. But if you've set it up for 5 years, it won't feel as like, oh, we just had to get Downey back.
Right.
Like, it'll feel earned.
It'll feel like you need that. There's a reason why.
Yeah.
All right, I said we're going to do one more, but I think we're over time at this point. Winston's got to get the hell out of here. So thank you guys for joining us today. And as always, comment. Hit that comment button. Any of the stories that we talked about today, what are your thoughts? How are you feeling about that DC casting? When do you think we're going to get the slate? What were your thoughts on
R.I.P.
the
Doom Patrol?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We didn't get a chance to talk about Doom Patrol, but all this as far as the trailer. How did you feel about Shazam trailer? Are you excited about it? All of that and more. We have so many comments that we're hoping to get from you. We try to do 1,000 comments, 1,000 likes. So if you're able to do it, please. Once again, Apple Podcasts, and we are on video on Spotify, so make sure you check that out. Patreon.com/TheBigThingShow. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do that. Get yourself one of those Capes and Cowles shirts, big thing. And you've also got Black Knight. That's up there, man. And You Don't Know Ish. All that and more. I mentioned at the top of the show. Make sure you come see me and Brett February 13th. At Flappers Comedy Club. We're both going to be at Flappers Comedy Club. Make sure you're there. 8 p.m. The Jake Lewis Show tickets you can get in the link in the description or in that little iCard there. All right, so for Winston Marshall, Winston, where can the good people find you?
You can find me at the Swaggy Blurred, all the things, man. Got some, obviously I'm here. I do Game Time with Roca on Mondays, talking football and sports and all that good stuff. And over on TikTok, dropping all them comedy bombs.
Coy Jandreau, how about you, man?
Right there, TikTok, I'm doing short form comic recommendations, ideas, concepts, and then long form on YouTube. I just passed 17K on YouTube because I'm finally using it. And I'm editing, so I'm trying to make it a little more polished and fancy like Kristian does. So YouTube, TikTok, and Twitter and Instagram, all right there, that name.
All right, and for me, you can obviously, if you aren't following me on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok and all that, you can find me, just my name. All right, everybody, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you, and let's have the great Wicked Art take us out. Peace out.